wonderful Mother Nature sound, bring you back to a little place called paradise, right? And that's what makes Rish Park so really, really special, is it's away from everything, where you can really kind of become one, with the ocean and nature, and it's uniquely accessible just for us. So before we really get into everything, does everyone have some literature? Everyone have some literature? Fine. Very good. Well, today we want to find out a little bit more about Rish Park, our waitlist family, and what's available for each and every one of you. Right? Because not only is it for our waitlist families, but it's for all persons with disabilities and their families. A place where we can go, where we don't have all of the chaos of a hotel and the parking and kind of the commercialization of Florida. A place where you can go, right? Yeah. All right. Give me 5. There we go. Right. So where is it? Right. Well, it's located out near Cape San Blas on a beautiful little piece of peninsula halfway between Apalachicola and Panama City. And on this, well, first let me give you all a website, if you could write down, because we're having to make two, but www.rishpark.org. www.rishpark.org. And if you could, John, would you be kind enough to kind of walk this picture around, let everybody kind of see where it's located, and give everyone a little view. There, yes. It's up in the Panhandle in a place called the Forgotten Coast.
Yes, I live there.
Right.
Oh, so if I took a boat from Cedar Key, I can run right into you because that's where I live near Cedar Key.
Yes. Right.
Take me to Rish Park.
You could. Right, absolutely you could.
Cedar Key is very close to our house. Yeah, we love Cedar. We spend a lot of time in Cedar Key.
And this park has 107 beds. It's got 2 family cabins and 6 group cabins. And then it has a main lodge in which, where you can bring the food to feed a whole, kind of like the soldiers, right, in a walk-in freezer and a big industrial kitchen. But each of the family cabins have kitchens themselves. And some of the group cabins actually have little mini
So
kitchenettes.
how many family cabins did you
2
say?
family cabins.
2 family cabins.
And then there's one group cabin that's kind of been modified where a family could split it. It doesn't have all the amenities that a full family cabin has, but it has enough to do.
And then right before the cabins, you said something else?
There's group cabins, kind of like summer camp.
No, was there a cottage, something else you said in the very beginning? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Like a mess hall, walk-in freezer, okay, stainless steel kitchen.
No, I mean besides the cabins and the group cabins, was there something else?
There's more, we'll get to it.
Condos or something you said?
Oh, I was meaning no hotels.
Oh, no.
No hotels, because the county ordinance prohibits anything more than 3 stories. So it's nothing but the sun and the sunset, the sunrise, and the dolphins swimming and so forth. So it's $5 a day or $15 per night for guests to attend. So think about that, a family of 4 for $60 a night plus tax on the beach.
How much is tax?
Right, 7%. All right, the normal sales tax.
So there's no resort fees or anything like that?
There's no additional fees on top of that. Right. Okay. And then you can rent the whole park if you wanted to bring a group up for $650 a night.
What's the capacity?
107 beds. Right. So you could really bring like a summer group up. Right. And that's really part of my hope and vision. Right. Where we really got true summer camps and where we could do Special Olympic training and tennis and miniature golf and fishing contests and
Oh.
maybe even water skiing and scuba diving and all kinds of things.
I mean, $6.50 a night does get kind of expensive per night.
What now?
No, I just said $6.50 a night gets kind of expensive.
Well,
Bring
not
whole
if
group.
you have 107 people there.
Yeah.
Right. So what is accessible there? The beach is accessible, the cabins, the dorms, the bathrooms, the pool, boardwalk, fishing, all kinds of activities. Do you need to make a reservation? Yes, if you wish to stay overnight. There is an online application, right, because it is for persons with disabilities and verified, okay, and the application's online, right? If you wanted to show up for the daytime, you can just drive up, which is always nice to be able to call ahead of time and say, hey, do we have a whole group there, or is it just going to be me and my family? Right. We have full-time staff that works there, Victor and his assistant. Now, John, would you walk this picture image around? Allow the folks to see this beach here real quick. Show them, walk it around. This is a 360-degree view of the beach right there.
Yeah. That's one of our,
Right,
there.
and we stood right there on the water's edge and just filmed it. And the sea turtles nest there. So if you ever seen those big turtles,
Yeah.
Done all the way in here.
right, and then you can see their little homes where they plant their eggs, okay? And then every year they go swimming back into the water and they'll come back once in their life. And what's amazing about this beach is you can sit there down there and sunbathe or read or just relax, and you know what? You're not going to see anybody. You might actually see one or two people who might walk by with their dog. How many beaches can you go to in Florida? Or you're the only one, right? Or it's just you and your family. Now we've got a whole boardwalk that'll get you all the way down. We actually have these really neat mats called Moby mats. Has anybody heard of those? Yeah.
The blue mat.
Right, the blue mats. It allows you to push your wheelchair over the sand. Right, so you can get down to the water's edge. Right, which is really neat. And on top of that, we've got the beach chairs, so you can transfer into one of those with the big balloon tires.
Oh, wow.
And then we even have a couple like golf carts just for persons with disabilities. So like you could jump in the golf cart and ride it all up and down the beach all day long.
There's not a golf course there though, right?
No, there's no golf course.
Okay.
Right, but it's what's called a beach scoop.
Yeah.
And so we had some nice people who donated these golf carts for our use on the beach.
Do you have staff that helps people, or is it your family that would?
It would be your family, but our staff is very kind and obviously would do some modest things, but they're not there to
Right.
pick you up off the ground kind of thing, but they clearly would do whatever is reasonable. And they're there all 24 hours a day and can be reached anytime during emergencies. But I would recommend bringing
Right.
family, and like in my case, I jump in a chair, roll into the pool, right? So we've got, here, turn this down a little bit, a little history about the park. Well, it was developed by Billy Joe Rish, a local lawyer who was way ahead of the times. He actually worked with our state legislature and the federal government to snatch this 98 acres and to preserve it for our use and recreation in the late 1960s and early 1970s. So So the original appropriation to kind of build it out was $50,000. Right. Since that original opening in 1973, the state legislature and our different governors, from Governor Bush to Governor Christ to Governor Scott, we've put in almost $8 million to modernize it. And in fact, this year alone, we were able to get $1.3 million. So what I haven't shown you yet is not only do you have the Gulf of Mexico, but on the other side of the park, you have a place called St. Joe Bay, which gives you the tall pine trees, the nature trails, the wildlife, the estuaries, you know, where all the birds and all of that stuff come. So it's actually two completely distinct views of the coastline out there in the Gulf of Mexico. It's really spectacular. So what's really neat is, for the first time here in a couple of years, we've opened up the St. Joe Bay side with a continued accessible path of travel, fishing, right, for the kids to do it right there, and additional bathrooms, because if you were way out there previously, it would be like a mile hike all the way back to your bathroom, so you could be running really quickly to get back there. But now we have both men's and women's bathrooms, and outdoor showers, and future amenities that will come. So it's been really exciting that the state of Florida has chosen to invest in outdoor recreation for persons with disabilities, and maintain the beauty of the land.
What was the park before we got the park as it is? Who owned it before? I mean, what is?
The federal government owned the land out there. It was part of the Air Force and the Navy and stuff, and then it became, they sold it off as part of private development, and there's a state park at the far end of the park. Okay, and then everything else on the Cape is all personal beach homes. Okay. So what's exciting is we average about 4,000 campers per year out at the park, and in fact this year we're having a record year in terms of turnout. Right, they're averaging over 200 people a week out there now. Right, it's really quite amazing. So we've had a really unique success story going on with Rish Park, FSU, and a group called the Oddfellows. It's kind of like one of those philanthropic groups in town. And they've created a scholarship program for our waitlist families, to give our waitlist families a chance to have that vacation. And so the past 4 years, in conjunction with FSU and the Oddfellows, we've now sent 20 families out to the beach to be able to have that unique time together, to be able to experience the outdoors, the accessibility, the fishing, and the kids. John, would you be kind enough to walk some of these pictures around? Right, let's show, just walk down. Yeah, blow that up a little bit. Right. Here are some of the images from some of our families who have been out there, and they're creating really memories for a lifetime. Because so many of our families aren't able to go to Miami Beach, aren't able to go to Fort Myers, not able to go to Jacksonville or to Pensacola. You know, a hotel could cost you, what, $250, $300 a night during the summer season, right? And then plus the food and the transportation. Here, $60 a night for a family of 4, and you bring your own sheets and your own towels, right? You eat what you want, and then any of your special dietary concerns, you're managing.
I can tell you, I live in Pensacola. That's a lot prettier than Pensacola, and it's quieter.
Yes.
Maybe as pretty, but definitely quieter. And
Right. And so the smiles on some of these faces and some of the stories here. This one gentleman with autism, what he liked was at night he put on a little kind of like the cabin hat, you know, the workman hat, and he ran around at night catching all the sand crabs. Right. And he thought that was really cool. Another young man here, Hayden, Team Hayden, a Jacksonville family, came all the way over. This young kid has been through so much, so many surgeries and stuff, and the mom just simply cried over the phone talking to me about how we had not been able to see him smile like this in any other location. And so the family was able to do things they were never able to do before. The little, did you see the scooter in the picture there? Where you jump right in and just use it with your hands? And the one family would race between the two kids up and down the beach. Right, just simply fun things. And then another family, they had all 4 of the autistic kids fishing at the same time. Right, and Dad was able to just sit back in the lounge chair and watch. Right, and there was no other distractions. It was just simply priceless. And even when the weather's bad, there is a TV, okay? And we had a very kind family donate a movie theater in the main lodge, so you can have a big drop-down screen and you bring Nemo or whatever your favorite videos are, and you can do indoor movie theater. Are we up and alive now? Well, we'll keep plugging along here.
So those dorm rooms that you talk about, typically how big are they to where you, is it just for one person, or how many beds are in each room?
Okay, well, a family cabin can sleep 6 comfortably.
Right.
Okay, and 2 bathrooms. So if you're trying to sense how large is it, the family cabin's probably 1,500 square feet. Okay, it's a decent, I mean, it's a house.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and the dorm rooms, you know, are bigger than this room here.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
okay, and so
So
a
for
dorm.
me and my husband and her and my other daughter, that would be just perfect for us.
Perfect. You got 2 rooms, 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a kitchen living room.
Are the bathrooms rolling showers?
Roll-in showers, right, are in the bathrooms.
Wow. So that,
Right.
I think we're back on track. I think the videos may not play right, but we.
Okay. Let's see where we're at then. Oh, okay.
Nice car?
Yes. Right, back up just a little bit. Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Was the
One more. One more. We'll flip down this side. Okay. Well, as I mentioned, FSU and the Order of the Oddfellows Lodge were doing scholarships. So this was the FSU logo. Next slide, please. And this was the first $2,000 check donation they made, and with the director there and Chief Osceola and Unconquered, and that spirit and that sense of community giving. And then here is the logo for the Oddfellows, and they're predicated on friendship, love, and truth. And they're just folks like you and I who care about the community. Now the scholarship is no longer $2,000, it's now, next slide, up to $2,500. So they chose, and they just made the next donation. So we have the next 5 families all booked. 3 of them were going in the month of June, and 2 are going in the month of August. And the part that's really neat about August is a family who was one of our first scholarship families 3 years ago recruited this family who's going in August, and they're now going together out there as 2 families out at the park at the same time. And that's really cool, I think. And so here's some of APD's leadership and stuff when we went out there with FSU, because they had not seen the park They created this scholarship just by word of mouth and believing in one another. And so it was really neat. I had a chance to take Megan and other persons of the APD leadership to go out there. Next slide. And here's a little thank you note that we gave them, and everyone did little signatures and signed and put little notes. Because as we all know, when you get a gift from folks, you have to say thank you. You know, that's that old practice that our mothers taught us. Never goes away. So getting into some of our stories here. Would anyone like Miss Foster there? Can you see here read that for the first time, Sebastian? Can you read that for me?
What does first time in Sebastian's life he had greater access to the beach and the Gulf. Thanks to the beach, work yourself.
Right. So going back to the question of would staff help? Yes, staff gets things out. And as you can see, Sebastian is there in his camp walker there, down there on the beach, and used a ramp to get on down there. Right. It was heartbreaking. And now over here, the Hutchinson family, spending quality time together in a lovely, peaceful setting. These are the folks who had never been before. Right. Now there's a beach scoot up there. We look forward to returning, especially when it's the expansions are completed. So families are excited about the vision that the APD director and the governor and the legislature have for the park, of what is possible. And down lower, the generosity of the park. In 4 years, we were able to get together for the first time as a whole family. I mean, really? That just, you know, I'd make a grown man cry. Right. Next slide. Another one here is Brenda here. Every time she tells her story about the beach, her mother says the waves keep getting bigger. The stories keep getting bigger. Right. And we all know about that. Right. Another one down here with the boys fishing and so forth. Right. It's just simply priceless. So now getting to the tour of the park. All right. People wanted to know, well, what's it really look like? Where are we? So let's have a little examination. Olympic-sized pool with the roll-in component. Right. The water's only 4 feet deep, so those who struggle with swimming can know that the feet are always on the ground. And for those of us who like to get wet, but swimming can be a little dangerous, then someone like your personal aide or your family member can be right there and grounded with you. Right.
Is it heated or is it cold?
Oh, that's a great question. It is a little chilly in May, but by the end of August, it's quite warm. Okay? And out there in the sun, sometimes it's really nice to get in it. Right? So you get the little shock value, but once you're in it, you're in good shape. Right? Here's some of the fishing poles we have at the park. You don't have to bring any. They're there. Look at that beach. Have you seen a beach like that? Can you recall something with such limited development on it? And that's looking to the west towards Panama City. And it looks that clean and beautiful going back the other one. And here are the sea turtles. I was telling you about the sea turtles, right? See, they got little nests there. And so we work with our fish and wildlife folks who protect them. So it's a nature sanctuary out there because there's a lot of protected critters, things that we have a responsibility for. Now here's the St. Joe Bay side, as I was trying to describe, a completely different look. That's the other half of the St. Joe Bay. Right, this would be perfect for pontoon boats, water skiing, or crabbing, oystering, I think, what's the other critters that are out there? Scallops, thank you. Right. You could just walk right out there and grab them yourself. Now here is our extended new boardwalk out into the Bay Area. This was what last year's appropriations dollars bill. Next one. Here is a look at some of our family cabins in the boardwalks that are with our family cabins. Right, the little microwave and the lower counter, and each room, each family cabin has a roll-in shower that someone asked about earlier. Right, here is the industrial-sized kitchen where you could feed a small army. So if you bring the group in, you can bring all that food and put it in the freezer, and the volunteers can cook. And then on the right-hand side of the picture, it's kind of like the dormitory, summer camp kinds of beds. And so then they have multiple bathrooms inside the group cabins. Here's the movie theater I was telling you about. Look at that big screen dropping down. And then sometimes when they go up there, they can do the dances and so forth.
So I have another question.
Yes.
Is it something that in the future, I know you have these big dreams and it's awesome. In the future, could you envision doing something like a family cafe in maybe a small one, but in that area, so that people that love this don't have to come 9 hours from Pensacola to, I mean, you could do something like family cafe, small
Well,
scale, better, right?
I think you're spot on. And we all are aware of the Florida Disabled Outdoor Association, and maybe they could do a mini sampler or a weekend or something out there. Okay, so.
Not that I mind coming to Orlando, but it's 9 hours.
Right, absolutely, I'm with you. Right, so here, remember the Moby mats I was telling you about, the blue mats? And that's about 200 feet of mat. So it's a pretty good stretch, and our staff will put it out for you anytime you're there. And that, I have a great story on that, because I had a buddy of mine one day who was with me, and I was way out on the mats, and he was sitting up on the boardwalk. And I was like, come on. And he's like, no. I'm like, what are you afraid of? Well, in his 33 years, he had never been on the sand in his wheelchair. And he was scared to go from the boardwalk down. And I was like, well, if it can handle my big butt, it can handle you. Right.
Your chair don't get stuck on the blue mats.
Well, that's what the mat's for. And it allows you to roll across the top of it.
Okay.
Okay? Now, sometimes you're right. If it doesn't get laid down correctly, you might get, stuck here and there. But it's not like being on the sand. Right? And
Yeah.
you're not going to get all of the grit and stuff in your wheels.
Yeah.
Okay, next slide. Here's the top view of the park looking down with Google Earth. And you can go to Google Earth and see it. So in the far left corner up there, that's where the family cabins are. And then that main group there, that's where the group cabins are. And you can see the pool and the main lodge and the boardwalk. So that's the Gulf of Mexico side of the park. And then the other half of the park goes up kind of towards the north. Here, the layout and kind of what we have in black are the main things that we currently have. And in the pink, these are some of the features we would like to see. An accessible playground, a miniature golf, a basketball course, the future RV, nature trail, and so forth.
So how much money do you need for the future?
Pardon me?
How much money do you need for the future?
Well, that's a great question. Right. If I needed to hazard a guess, $10 million would get us to the finish line for everything.
I don't have that, but
Right, but thank you.
Now,
Here-
do you, and you, with this, you just bring your own food, right? There's no
Yes.
like restaurants or where you can get a hot dog or a hamburger.
Well, you could get a hot dog and a hamburger on the Cape. Okay, there's a basic restaurant there and a basic like Circle K kind of thing. But in general, you would need to bring your own food.
Okay.
Okay, and the family cabins have a full standing refrigerator with freezer. They have all the ice you could possibly want. Staff will bring it so you can stack your coolers and so forth. Here, one of the items I would really like us to see, we should see how about a wheelchair-friendly tree fort? Wouldn't that be cool? To be able to allow the kids and the parents and stuff to get up there and have that be a part of our nature trail system. That would be something neat. Okay? We do have the fishing and stuff. Miniature golf, it wouldn't look like this, but it would be very similar, and we would build it. One more click, please. See? Now anybody can score a hole in one. But we can roll right on it with our wheelchairs. We currently have a little miniature tennis that the Florida Tennis Association donated, a little kind of equipment there, and we got it set up and have a racket tied into us, and so the Downs and other people with autism and any kind of disability or family friendly playing right there by the main swimming pool. And then of course a playground. That would make a real difference for folks. So getting to how much does it cost? A boundless playground, something a little fancier than that, would only be about $100,000.
Only that's quite
Well,
a bit.
remember, we've managed to get almost $10 million in 10 years. So your continued advocacy, your continued support can make a difference. So part of here is some collection of our pictures and book your family vacation to be able to create a memory of a lifetime. A place where you can be you. A place where you don't have to pretend, that challenges don't exist.
Do you have swings right now? Like handicap swings?
We don't have any swings right now. No, we don't, but we'll get there.
Yeah,
We'll get there. And so that's really, the exciting part is, we have a place that's ours. We have a place in which we can be ourselves. It's affordable. It's open year round. Okay? And that's so individuals who don't, or the heat maybe be a challenge. I actually did Thanksgiving out there once. Right? And we were the only ones out there. Right. And so maybe you wanted to bring all of your family. Well then, you know what? Rent 2 cabins. And rent a few of the group rooms. I had a colleague in Tallahassee who's visually impaired. They did a family reunion out there to celebrate Grandma's birthday, who turned 98. So they had 70 members of the family out there. Right. And another neat part is we have some of the scouting groups that are cross disability and part of the team. They go out there because this is where they can camp. That includes everybody. And then the neat part about the scouts is they always do a little service project when they're out there and make things a little bit better than when they found it. Right. Yes, ma'am, you have some questions.
I'm from Fort Lauderdale. I'm not familiar with the area. What's the closest airport?
Panama City.
Panama City?
Right, Panama City would be the closest airport. Right, Tallahassee would be a little further, but I'd recommend Panama City. And you should probably be able to get a direct flight.
Okay.
Right? Any other questions?
I missed the first part of it. Like the rates, is it less if you're a family with disabilities?
Oh, I'm sorry. The rates are, it's $15 per night per person. Okay? Or it's $5 a day for a day pass. Or you can contract for the entire park for about $650 a day.
Is it just for people with disabilities?
And their families.
Cause I was thinking like, I know scouts treat people a lot with autism. Would
Right.
they be able to?
Well, the answer is yes. I was just talking about scouting.
Yeah, I know, that's why I thought.
Okay, and Girl Scouts. And in fact, there's a troop in the Tallahassee area who have a couple of kids with disabilities, and they go every year as a way for them to be able to do the life-saving and the swimming and the camping and the cooking skills.
What do you have to show?
What,
Or would you have to prove disability?
Well, that's a great question. We have an application process, and it's the honor system. You disclose that, yes, I have a disability and so forth. Right.
You have to do
And so
application.
the online application's there, right? But it is all cross disability. It's not just developmental disability, not just wheelchair bound, right? Right. It's, you know, even grandma with arthritis and so forth. Right.
Do you have to do an application every time, or do you keep it on file, or?
Well, you would do it, you would do the application initially, and then once you have a rapport and working with the ladies, no, you wouldn't necessarily have to fill it out every time and say, yes, I'm a quadriplegic, or I have Downs or something. Once we got through the system, but you would still need to lock up the dates and sometimes even do a down payment and so forth like that.
But all your information you originally put in there would have to be redone each time though.
No.
So how far is the closest city? You said there's a place.
Well, St. Joe City is 15 minutes. And then Apalachicola, which is the famous oyster area, probably 25, 30 minutes, that historic town. Right. So families who wanted to do some exploration and learning and kind of doing that oral history and stuff, it's a great community to do some of that in. And you could use Rish Park as like your hub and then go do day trips. Right. Did everyone get the literature? Okay, we had some. John, can we make sure? And then if you could be kind enough to fill out the little review sheet, and thank you so much for spending some time, right? And hope you guys would consider booking a trip out there and spreading the word.